Martin Floreani is a certified savage and not just on the internet. His testimony has been firing on all cylinders. After we announced he was taking the stand, Karen Burgess chimed in. What am I doing? Willie trials, day 6, recap. Let's go. All right, so today Martin Floreani has entered the chat. Okay, we got to see the former FloSports CEO and founder battle it out with the current FloSports legal titan, Karen Burgess, and deliver. Yes, it did. Kind of. It was good. It was pretty good, but, you know, at this point in the trial, we kind of know everything that's happened. We're kind of hearing the same exhibits over and over, different witnesses getting asked the same questions and then different variations of that questions. At this point, we kind of know the arguments that each side is trying to make, but we have to get through it all. Some of it's formality, so I'm going to try to present to you guys some of the new stuff. This video might be shorter than the other ones, which is good. I think some of them are getting a little bit long, but I think now we're getting down to the important stuff. Martin Floreani is obviously a very big part in this, as he was the previous CEO and founder of FloSports, along with his brother Mark Floreani. They split up. Martin goes and starts Rokfin. He is the CEO and founder of Rokfin, and here we are. A big lawsuit and a ton of content for me to cover, so it is what it is. Let's get right down to business.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Right off the bat, Karen brings up Rokfin's employees. Excuse me, not Rokfin. Rokfin's employees. Excuse me, not Rokfin. It is Rokfin. Although, like I said before, I used to pronounce it Rokfin as well in my head, so got to give her a pass on that one. It is Rokfin, though. We'll see if she gets it figured out by tomorrow. I have my doubts. Nevertheless, she brings up Rokfin's current staff, and she brings up how many of them used to work at FloSports. The employees that she's kind of talking about here is Nick Velikat. He currently works at Rokfin, and he used to work at FloSports. And Joe Velikat, who Martin says was an intern one summer at FloSports. So those two guys, and then I think there were some other ones, but I can't remember. And then she also asked how many of these guys were wrestlers, and she says 3 of them. I don't really know the relevancy of that one. Neither did Martha Dickey. They called for a objection, and it was sustained. So not really sure where that was headed, but it would have been interesting to see where it was going. Either way, not important. Karen also asked Martin about who he sees as Rokfin's competitor, and Martin says YouTube. Shots fired. Shots fired at us over here. Just kidding. He says YouTube, Patreon, and Substack. I'm not familiar what Substack is. I probably should have looked that one up. Obviously, I know what YouTube is. You guys know what it is as well. But Patreon is an interesting one, because Patreon, actually, you pay a subscription to the creator, and I think that each creator sets its own price, and they profit off of that. So, for instance, if I were to go to Patreon, I could charge my subscribers, my viewers, a certain amount of money to receive my content, and I could set different packages. You could have like an entry level package, it's like $5, a mid-level package is like $10, and a large package that's like $12. And each one you can, set, how much content they get. If they do $5, they get a little bit. Medium, and large, you get it. Substack, like I said, I don't know how that one works, but YouTube is kind of different, but it is a platform, and they kind of break that down a little bit later on. So Karen actually refutes that Rokfin is a competitor of those, because it has a barrier to entry and an approval process to get on the platform. So in order to be a content creator on Rokfin, you have to be approved. That's what she says, I guess. I haven't actually looked into it, but I guess you have to get approved, and which I think that's a pretty valid point, because if you are wanting to approve the content creators, that means you want to control who is on your platform. Therefore, you don't want anybody that's not going to damage your brand, I guess. And so there is a little bit of control there. However, as good of a point that was, Martin comes back with a also good point where he says that is also true with monetized YouTube channels, which your boy can confirm, because we just hit 1,000 subs, and your boy is waiting on an approval from YouTube so we can start getting paid $5 per 100 million views. But whatever, buy the merch. Link down below. And the way Patreon works, I already described that one. The difference between Patreon and Rokfin, though, is Rokfin actually plays in cryptocurrency, which is Ray token. I'd like to get somebody from Rokfin on the show sometime to explain how that works, but that's what the internet's for, so go look that up if you don't know how cryptocurrency works, because neither do I. Karen also brings up Martin helping certain Rokfin creators with creating their channels, i.e. Tony Ramos, and assisting Willie. So Tony Ramos had a tweet, or I think Martin had a tweet that got brought up, and it was of Tony sitting behind a camera or sitting in front of a camera doing some sort of content for his Rokfin channel. And they were questioning on whether or not Martin was producing that, in which he says, no, I was just there. Those aren't my cameras. Those aren't anything of mine. That's all them, which I believe that they were shot on GH5s, which is what I shot on. So when I saw that, I was thinking, pretty sure they would probably have better cameras than that. However, this is a really good camera, but when you're talking about multi-million-dollar companies, I don't think they're buying GH5s. They're probably buying something a little bit bigger, but this is all talk that you don't care about. And as far as buying Willie equipment, that's kind of been discussed previously on here, so I'm not going to break that down too much. They also talked about live streaming wrestling events, and Martin says individual creators film the events, and Rokfin is just the platform for those events, to which they also bring up that Flo does something similar. So Flo will get the live streaming rights for a certain wrestling tournament, and it is sometimes subcontracted out, or it is streamed or filmed by the actual event holders, and then that fee goes to Flo. And so basically Flo pays for those rights. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me in the comment section down below, but something along those lines, in which Rokfin does something similar. However, if you really break down how Rokfin works and how Flo works, they're totally different. So Rokfin, you pay $9.99 a month, and if you sign up for Rokfin under a certain channel, so if StaleMates has the StaleMates Invitational and you guys want to watch it, you can sign up to be a Rokfin member. If you're not already a Rokfin member, you can sign up and click which content creator you want to support. You support StaleMates, and I get a percentage of whoever chooses StaleMates, where Flo would basically just pay me a lump sum of money, and then they get to keep all of the subscriptions that they get from that, and also they get value in retaining their current customers by keeping them entertained. Hope I got that right. Then at the very end of Karen Burgess's examination, they talked about Willie's employment status at Rokfin, in which this was already covered, but we got to get into it again today because it's the day 6 recap, and this was in day 6. So this was to prove that Willie was an employee of the competitor, Rokfin. And Martin admits that they paid Willie $10,000 up front and $1,500 a month in the beginning, and also gave him that Rokfin healthcare up until September, and then they cut that off. So they did have him as a W-2 employee at some point, but it did end once this lawsuit kind of came about. I think that's when they ended it. So I don't know how that's going to come into effect with Judge Livingston, but it's not for me to decide. All right, up next is one of our favorite lawyers, Martha Dickey. Martha Dickey is one tough cookie, let me tell you. So she goes up right off the bat, and she asks Martin, when he used to be at Flo, he used to tell potential investors that their competitors were companies that bid on the rights to live events. There was some back and forth on whether or not FloSports has changed since then. So what she's doing there is she's trying to show that when Martin was there, they only cared about people who were buying the rights to live events. Therefore, they did not care about other content creating platforms or whatever, like Rokfin. Disclaimer, Rokfin does not put out content. They host content creators. Martha also brings up the fact that Martin still owns 11% stake in FloSports, which is more than any other single person, so it would harm him to hurt FloSports. That's a valid point. And she also brings up a document from Rokfin in the early days when Rokfin was looking who they should recruit. Willie Saylor's name was on the list, however, it did say not qualified beside that. Maybe you're not so good after all, Willie. All jokes aside, I'm not exactly sure why it said he was not qualified. And then at the end of the day, Pat Noonan, who is FloSports' CFO, Chief Financial Officer, was on the stand, and really nothing came about that at all. He didn't get on the stand till the very end of the court date, in which we all know how government jobs work. 5 o'clock hits, we're out of here, we're hitting happy hour. So we didn't really get to hear much from him. If there was something and I missed it, please let me know. But I think we will start off Monday morning with him on the stand. That will be interesting. There's still a lot left in this trial. I am curious to see how it's going to go. And I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. So please give me a thumbs up, comment, like, all that. We want to let YouTube know that you guys are enjoying this, so they will suggest us to more people. You guys are tired of hearing that, but it's true. And it is showing that you guys are liking the videos. We have gotten more likes in this past week than we have in the past 6 months. Something like that. But I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to drop a comment, like, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Peace.